When I started investing, I came across this one fact I just could not believe at first. Banks create money out of thin air and lend it out to people and businesses with interest. This couldn't be true, right? And then I fell into the rabbit hole. Let me show you. Welcome to the Macro Chimp. I hope you are doing well. This is not financial advice, so this is for educational purposes only. Most people think when you get a loan from the bank, they give you other people's savings. Well, this is not the case. What actually happens is this. When a bank gives you, let's say, a mortgage, the bank creates new units of currency and loans it out to you. And of course, they charge interest. This is how banks make money. They need to have an asset as collateral in order to give you that loan, but they only need to have a fraction in assets of what the loan is worth. This is called fractional reserve banking. The percentage of assets they need to have in order to give you that loan varies. It changes often, and it also depends on how big the bank is, but often it's between 2 and 10%. Let's take the 10% ratio as an example. Banks have assets on their balance sheet. Cash, for example. Let's say they have $100 on there. Now, with this $100, they can loan out $1,000 because of the 10% fractional reserve rule. In this process, they just created $900. Therefore, there is now more money in the system. And this is why the money supply grows and how inflation is created. This is also why economists say that inflation is good, because banks are loaning out to businesses, so they must be growing and hiring new people. This is not a fuel story. Banks also lend to investors who are buying stocks in the stock market. This boosts the stock prices and creates inflation, but does not create more economic activity. But now back to the fractional reserve banking story. So these banks create new money. In fact, banks create more than 95% of all money in existence. But here's the catch. They charge you interest. In the case of our $1,000 loan, let's say we have a 5% interest and the loan term is 1 year. This means we have to get $1,050 to pay back the loan. On all money in the system, somewhere, interest is charged. This means that in the system as a whole, there is always a lack of money. There is always more money owed than there is in the system. We use debt-based money. And this system is only possible when interest rates keep getting lower, lower and lower. And the total debt in the system gets higher and higher and higher. Now here is the real rabbit hole. The people in power, they know this. They have set up the system like this on purpose. Basically, they let the 99% of people fight over growing debt, bankruptcy, and a structural lack of money. We have to work more and harder for our debt-based money, which banks just can create out of thin air. In fact, they keep us working so we don't have the extra time to figure out we are being screwed over. And it gets worse. When you are born as a free human, within a few days you become citizens of a country. Congratulations. You are now titled to government debt. You are forced to find a way to get your hands on some debt-based money, which there is a lack of, and pay your taxes with it to pay the debt, the debt that is always growing. And if you don't, well, rules and prison and stuff, you never had a choice in the matter. Whoa, that's pretty dark stuff, chimp. Yes, I know. Life is not a fairy tale. Now let's take responsibility for the situation we are in. Let's zoom out and see if we can find some things that can help us get ahead in the system. We know banks create money out of thin air which creates inflation and kills your savings. So, do not save money. I'm not saying you should spend it, but you can save in things they cannot print. Things that are not debt-based, like gold, silver, Bitcoin, maybe artworks. I've even seen Lego boxes, Pokemon cards, and quality wines do well. Also, we know this system only works when the debt keeps getting larger and interest rates keep getting lower. Higher interest rates will give too much pressure on the system. But it already looks like we are out of the option of lowering rates. We are in fact at the end of this system. And this is not a secret. The 1% is very open about this. Our friends at the World Economic Forum and their friends at the central banks are calling this the Great Reset. We are going to have a new monetary system. And if they have it their way, we go to a system where you don't own anything, but you will be happy. For example, you can't buy a car or a house anymore, but you can lease or rent it. Of course, this will make you more slave. Also, in this new system, we will have a central bank's digital currency. This basically means banks are no longer the middleman. You will have your bank account right at the central bank. These central banks can just create more money by printing it into your account without creating a government bond. This means the fractional reserve banking rule is no longer valid. Central banks can just print money which they give to you and you have to spend on certain things like food and maybe in a certain time slot. Or they can choose not to give you money because you have been criticizing the government, which lowered your social score. Karl Marx would be proud. And yes, of course, the people who make these rules will benefit the most. Well, chimp, this is not a very bright future. I know. But now let's look how we, the people, can also form this new system. The crypto space is one hell of an invention. First of all, Bitcoin is not debt-based money. It's free and censorless money. Also, decentralized finance and smart contracts within those crypto spaces are enabling anything a bank can do, but then decentralized, free and open. This space is very new and it's not without risk. And it has a quite steep learning curve. But please don't get left behind in this slave system. The crypto space is the future for everybody who loves their kids. We are getting the chance to build up a system from the ground up and not from the top down. We are the new Renaissance. We are the future. Do yourself and your kids a favor and start learning about the parallel systems like crypto. And on that note, I would like to end the video. I thank you all for watching. I hope you got something out of this video. In a future episode, I will dive deeper into inflation, how it affects you and how it widens the rich and poor gap even more. And if you think maybe you want to protect yourself, check out my video about silver. Also, stay tuned for an episode on Bitcoin and the crypto space as a whole. Thanks again. I wish you all a great day.